to Intercultural Challenges, a short video series with concepts and tools for communication in an academic context. Whether in your own university or during an exchange, there will be something here for you. Let's get started! What is culture? When we think about the notion of culture, we often think about a specific country with specific geographical boundaries. And of course, there is some truth in this idea. Take Khadija, for example. Khadija was born and raised in Canada. She probably has some typical Canadian values, behaviours, expressions, and ideas. After all, Canadian society, politics, architecture, and even brands have influenced her way of seeing the world. But having said that, can we limit her to this cultural environment? Not really. So then why is this often our first instinct? Let's try to understand. Well, we like to think of ourselves as free-thinking individuals, but sociology shows us that other factors are indeed at work. To some extent, national cultures do have their own kind of identity, and in culture mapping research, such as that of Hofstede, certain trends can be seen. If we look closely, there are various dimensions that can be strikingly different. This can be useful if you know nothing at all about a place. It can act as a kind of cultural compass. For example, you would be happy to know before going on an exchange whether the society of a host country is basically more individualistic or more collective. This could help you choose between leaving a lecture or a conversation when you feel like it, or deciding to stay with the group until the end. Or, as another example, knowing something about hierarchy rules in that society can help you decide how to address people according to their status. Information about general trends in a culture can be literally life-saving, like in this humorous caricature. However, we need to be very critical of claims that the British are X or the Chinese are Y, because such statements quickly become generalizations that may be biased assumptions or worse, racism. They are essentialist, a key word in our short exploration, and they promote stereotypes. You may have heard of essentialism, but what is it really? Essentialism is reducing a person to one aspect of their identity. To better understand this, let's go back to Khadija. In her case, essentialism would be to think that because she is Canadian, she must like the cold. Or, hey, Lee, you're American and you're not eating a burger? Examples like this can be humorous, although possibly annoying. If we take a closer look, essentialism is thinking we know the other person based only on their national origin. How about Tom? He's South American, so essentialism may lead me to think that he is always up for a party, which he'll be 2 hours late for. Or I might try to explain the sociable character of Nadi by the fact that they are Spanish. Oh, hello Lisa. So you're Swiss. I've always wanted to meet a Swiss person. Now that we have seen the limits and even dangers of essentialism, let's reconsider our definition of culture. Rather than being static and uniform, culture is dynamic and varied. In today's world, a growing number of students have multiple cultural influences. These influences shift and change the shape of individual identities as people study, work, and travel, whether it be in person or virtually. So, knowing that Nadi grew up in Spain does not tell us everything. In fact, Nadi has family from France and Morocco, and a best friend who's Albanian. This diversity influences their opinions on many subjects. We can see that reducing Nadi to one national culture, or any other single aspect of their identity for that matter, is like trying to pack everything into a box that is just too small. If you're Swiss, you may already know that outside impressions of Switzerland may not include the linguistic and cultural diversity within the country's borders, not to mention the huge variety of individual journeys. In this video, we have focused on nation cultures. a concept that we can see has limits in our modern world. However, there are many definitions of culture. A popular metaphor involves the iceberg. Outward displays of culture, like food, customs, and rules, are on the tip, and all the values and deeper aspects underneath. With a dynamic view of culture, we can question the whole iceberg itself. In today's world, there isn't actually one single Canada iceberg or one single Switzerland iceberg, and under the surface, the ice is shifting and merging and melting. So, what's the takeaway message here? Well, country equals language equals culture assumes that nationality is the biggest aspect of someone's identity. This certainly isn't the only way or the most relevant way of looking at culture. Let's look at culture with a wider view, one that is more heterogeneous. Our own identity has many multiple facets, of which national influences are just one part. Tom is much more than Peruvian. We'll return to this in the next video, where we'll talk about our multiple cultural identities.